looming decision. We enter day 20 for those of us keeping track of the future Hall of Famers free agency. So let's check in with our senior NBA insider, Shams Charania. Shams, happy Monday to you. Thank you so much for joining us. When, my friend, can we expect a decision from LeBron?
Look, we're on week 4 now, I believe, and everyone in the NBA is waiting on LeBron's decision, his choice now. And I spoke to Rich Paul, his longtime agent, this morning. And Rich Paul made it clear to me that the choice is LeBron James's right now. It's up to him on a choice of which team he wants to play for. All of the information is in. The teams are set. Everyone's made their moves. There is no decision, no choice yet. There's no timetable on a choice as of yet, but we know the teams: Cleveland, Miami, Philadelphia, Golden State, Minnesota, all are waiting on this. This has a domino effect around the league with other free agents as well. My understanding, though, over the last couple of weeks is that the focus has been primarily, though, on the Eastern Conference teams being Cleveland, Miami, and Philadelphia. And we all continue to wait.
Yes, we do. And we know that the last 8 years that LeBron James was in the Eastern Conference, he made it to the NBA Finals each one of those 8 years. But for now, Shams, you and me, our vacations will also have to wait until LeBron James makes this decision. We'll continue to check in with you as this unfolds. But bringing it back inside our Los Angeles studios, Kendrick Perkins beaming in from Houston, Dave McMenamin, Anscapes, Mark Spears, Shanae Agumake. Dave, you were at FanFest last week. You were with LeBron James. You had a chance to speak to him a little bit. What did we learn? What do we know?
What we did learn is that the end is not near. You mentioned the Odyssey in the opening.
Of the decision or
no, the end of
no spoilers, please. I haven't watched yet.
Oh, yeah, Shanae said no spoilers for the Odyssey.
It's a minor spoiler. It just keeps going and going.
Okay, I'll take it.
And he made it clear that the Swan Song is not upon us.
Okay.
Like, if he plays next year, that's not the farewell tour. He compared himself to Bruce Springsteen and the Rolling Stones as artists who still tour 50, 60 years since they first hit the charts with their records. And so that's one thing we learned in terms of what team he's going to play for. He continued to keep it close to the vest. He had some fun with it. You know, he said, trust the process. The crowd went nuts on Friday. On Thursday, he said, I hear Warriors, I hear Philly, I hear Miami from people yelling it out from the crowd. He's not let anything. What he did do was echo what he said after Game 4 in the OKC series. It's like, I want to be in a competitive environment where I wake up every day and I want to pour myself into the work, and we're all working towards a common goal. And that remains the same thing.
Right, and that's where you get maybe the Eastern Conference conversation when you talk about being competitive, giving yourself the best chance to win. Perk, we saw you out there at FanFest too. Did you get a chance to talk to LeBron?
No, I did not. Matter of fact, I haven't spoke to LeBron in about a year and a half since he unfollowed me on social media. But look, listen, I don't know where he's going. I've been getting stopped. I was stopped in the airport. I was stopped at the Fan Fest, and everybody's like, oh, Perk, I know you know. And I was like, no, I don't. But it got me to thinking, right? Since everyone is sitting up here making their pitch, how about I make a pitch for us at NBA Today and ESPN? Hey, bro, you don't really need to play anymore. You don't need to play anymore. You're really good at breaking down the game. You have a high IQ for the game of basketball. And I'm pretty sure that over here at the worldwide leader, the Mouse, we could pay you more than vet minimum. You know what I'm saying? We could pay you more than vet minimum. How about you go ahead and close this chapter of your career and start your new one? We're waiting on you, my brother. You see what Tom Brady is doing? All GOATs have the transition of doing something great and moving on. Maybe the time is now.
Well, Perk, you might be still blocked on social media by LeBron. I did say hello, and it was nice to see him. But I also saw James Harden when I was hosting the Fanatics Fest stream, and I was like, James, what's your pitch? Because you are at the top of the list. A lot of people feel like Cleveland could be an opportunity. And he said, basically in different words, I'm paraphrasing, what's understood need not be explained. Cleveland is home. You don't even need to pitch him. He understands what the circumstances are. But also, when James came, he knew what the expectation was. The one word he said that people were like, hold on, wait a minute. He said, I'm going somewhere to win a championship. That was pre-LeBron James. Now you add potentially LeBron James to the mix there. I think that's the expectation. You can compete. You're in the Eastern Conference. But most importantly, as James Harden said, I am home. So, you know, reading into the tea leaves here or there. But we'll see where the chips fall.
Well, shoot, you got a bag at FanFest. Kurt got a bag at FanFest. Dave was at FanFest.
I didn't get a bag.
Me and Malika was in L.A. Malika probably could have got a bag at FanFest too, but she was busy. I ain't get nothing. But
We got
what
you
I
next year.
did hear is one NBA head coach, and this is Dave, I'm sorry, this is just the latest whatever I've heard.
Yeah.
Said Philly, Cleveland, or Golden State is what they heard. And that's what I heard, the latest thing, which means nothing.
It's nothing or everything to one of those teams if they end up with it.
Mark, everyone's having these same conversations.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, the Rich Paul, LeBron James, they control the information, and my understanding, they're not giving too much to anyone right now. And so we're all just trying to figure out what basic instincts, conjecture, other conversations, what it all means.
Dave, at what point do you think teams just say, like, you know what, we can't wait anymore, we got to start making moves?
Right, didn't Golden State, I mean, this is no offense to Al Horford, but didn't Golden State wait until like October for Al Horford last year? Like, teams could wait that long. I hope it doesn't, but I think teams would wait.
And he shouldn't rush the process. And Dave, I want to ask you this, because I'm getting the same energy and the same vibes that Shams just said about Rich Paul. It's like, you know, usually Rich Paul has a pretty big influence in the decision making when it comes to anything that LeBron James does. I think at this point, where I believe I know, that Rich Paul don't know. I believe that Rich Paul is literally waiting on LeBron, and I think LeBron really, honestly, hadn't made a decision. I think he may have taken a step forward, and then all of a sudden he had to rethink things, or he got another voice note. But we're back here again on the start of a new week on a Monday, and I honestly could sit up here and say that LeBron James probably hasn't made a decision yet on where he want to go, and Rich Paul don't even know. Can you agree to that?
I mean, Perk, I talked to Rich on Friday, and the way he described it to me was that there are no perfect options. And so obviously that means there are still many strong possibilities. But, you know, my response to Rich was like, nothing in life is perfect. And so he's got to figure out what it's going to be for the end.
Now I'm curious, because all of us, with the exception of Mark and Malika, we're pounding the pavement in New York at, you know, Fanatics Fest. And in our multiple conversations, there was one team that kind of had some momentum that was a little bit surprising to me, because I would say a week ago it was clearly Cleveland.
You're saying Miami.
I'm saying Miami. So, Perk, don't you feel like Miami, amongst conversations, came up like, oh, don't sleep on them? Because when you look at the basketball of it all, he has probably the greatest opportunity to make an impact if he's playing the 1, the 2, or 3 where he normally feasts. Whereas these other teams, he's going to have to slot in with more so of a stacked backcourt per se. Did you hear Miami? Because that was like kind of emerging for me.
I did hear that Miami is at the top of the list, but I will say this. If LeBron James does pick Miami or is considering Miami, I know Pat Riley, D. Wade, Udonis Haslem, Eric Spoelstra, those guys are not the ones that's going to get it done. I don't know if Giannis has picked up the phone to call LeBron yet, or if he's planning on doing it. But we're at the point where I feel like the heavy hitters from each organization, Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, obviously we didn't heard reports already from the Warriors, from Steph.
Your guy,
yeah,
Draymond.
those guys are the ones. If Miami wants some real motion, Giannis already done his press conference.
All the teams are like, you know, the finalists, right? Of all the players on all those teams, who would be the best?
He said we're waiting on one
more.
more.
From the top dog.
He did hint at it.
Mark and I were talking about this before we started the show. If you think of all the teams, or like, you know, the finalists, right? Of all the players on all those teams, who would be the best single teammate that LeBron could team up with right now? And you'd probably say Giannis, 31 years old, 2-time MVP, and plays both ends. And obviously he's had some injury stuff, and Steph is an all-time great, but Steph's 5 years older than Giannis is.
Sure.
Best fit?
It seems like the best fit might be Minnesota, but it seems like that when we're looking at the Eastern Conference. Should we do it? Should we make a proclamation right here, right now? Are we going to continue? Should we say right now, we're not going to lead the show with LeBron until a decision has been made? Should we do it? Should we do it?
I mean, you can do it.
Say it.
Your show, not mine.
I think we're at that point, guys.
Speaking of motion,
Let's get to Vegas. Is that what you're saying? Speaking of motion, which top draft pick impressed the most? We're going to have our takeaways from Summer League, highlights from the Warriors title run. Plus, one team can't lose. We got a superstar that couldn't miss and a vet who blew the roof off in Atlanta. We've got our W weekend recap for you on deck. And as we await LeBron's decision, the man behind the most iconic sports interview we've seen with LeBron James, the Hall of Famer Jim Gray. He's moved all defensive wing Lu Dort going to Atlanta. This is part of a 3-team deal that sends 3 second-round picks to Oklahoma City. The Mavericks will get a 2024, the #1 pick, Zachary Risachet, and then they're sending Ryan Nembhard to the Hawks as well. Remember, Dort originally joined Oklahoma City as an undrafted free agent. He was the longest tenured member of the team. So let's say hello to our front office insider, Vegas Summer League party animal, Bobby Marks, who is finally back home and spending his off day with us. Bobby, thank you so much. Let's start with Oklahoma City here, because Lu Dort is really the latest piece from the title team to get moved here. Why exactly did they make this trade?
Well, it's financially motivated, Malika, here. And Sam Presti, their head of basketball operations, did something rare yesterday. He talked with the Oklahoman newspaper there and addressed that. Sam only talks before the season and after the season. And when you look at the Lu Dort trade, it saves them nearly $100 million in luxury tax savings. Their payroll has gone down from roughly $570 to $320 million, so it's over $300 million in savings here. And I think the big thing that Sam expressed is now it gives them the financial resources to go out and extend Cason Wallace this offseason, extend A.J. Mitchell next offseason here. And the most important, their core 3 players haven't been touched in this, with Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren still on this roster. So yes, you lose a starter, but I think in the long run, it could probably benefit Oklahoma City just based on how they're allocating their finances.
So the crux of this was an apron move for Oklahoma City. But let's just zoom out here with everybody and evaluate the scope of this 3-team trade, Perk. Who do you think got the best return when you're looking at this deal?
To be honest with you, I think it's Oklahoma. I mean, because when you think about, them moving on from Lu Dort, and shout out to Sam Presti, because he not only is he making moves, but he's trading these guys away to some good destinations. So shout out to him for doing right by his guys. But when you think about Cason Wallace and you think about A.J. Mitchell, those guys are going to fit right in alongside the big 3 of OKC, and they're going to take on a bigger role. It's just a difference when you walk into an arena or to a facility or even the start of the season, knowing that you're going to have a bigger role. Because we know that the Oklahoma City Thunder, over the course of the last 2 seasons, this young squad has been asked to sacrifice playing time, asked to sacrifice their game and their role. And so when you think about these 2 guys and what they're going to be able to do and more opportunities they're going to have without looking over their shoulder, it's going to help the Oklahoma City Thunder tremendously.
Perk, I feel like we might be sleeping on the fact that this move right here might have solidified the Atlanta Hawks as the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference. Because, again, you're going to have to defend with the influx of stars hitting the conference. And even after All-Star break, this squad had the 2nd best defense behind the Oklahoma City Thunder in the entire NBA. And so, obviously, this is what the Thunder's possible starting 5 looks like. But on the other side, the depth chart, particularly for the Atlanta Hawks, these are some solid defensive dudes. Yeah. Dyson Daniels, 2nd team all-defense. Jalen Johnson, a 2-way type of guy. Now you add into the fold an NAW, coming off of a great improved year. Now you add Lu Dort, who is known for the Dorture chamber. This is a squad that now has a full wholesale 180, 360. You leave Trae Young, where everyone knew what the biggest issue was there. They immediately took a step forward. And then Lu Dort, 2024-2025 first team all defensive and 4th in DPOY. So you look at the Hawks, this could be the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference and at the top, rivaling the Thunder in the entire NBA.
And so they give up Zachary Reese-Shea, who they used a #1 pick to draft. And through no fault of Reese-Shea's own, it wasn't the strongest draft class there, but he has had some question marks about what his NBA career could look like here. And Mark, I know that you spoke to Dallas about the way that they are viewing this.
No, Dallas is super excited, and I heard Zachary has already told him that he's super excited as well. You're talking about a guy that Masai Ujiri always goes after, players with length, athletic. Zach could shoot threes, very low risk. I mean, as Bobby put out, like, they didn't really give up much for him. And Masai said that he wants to add players to Cooper Flag that could help him develop, and now you're adding somebody about the same age. Not much financially, well, from NBA standards, $13 million.
Right.
A lot to gain here. I think it's a great move by Dallas under the circumstances to add a young player who started 73 games 2 years ago.
At the core of this, though, is Oklahoma City, right? A championship team trying to keep their championship core together and try to figure out how they can add another one. So what's the biggest question mark you think that's left, Bobby, for OKC?
Well, I mean, I think the Case and Wallace extension is the big thing. I think he's extension eligible right up until the last day of the offseason, and what's the number going to be. I think, Malika, it's a lesson about the second apron, right? The second apron basically has taught us that you have to prioritize what is of value. And I'm not saying that Luguentz Dort wasn't a value of Oklahoma City, but when you have these two young players on low-cost contracts that are eventually going to get expensive, that's where your priority is right now. But Oklahoma City is not going anywhere, even with trading Luguentz Dort in this deal.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions right now about the second apron, and Adam Silver's essentially said that it's being used as intended. It's working as intended, even as we see stars taking less than what they could with a Victor Wembanyama, previously Jalen Brunson, to allow for extensions of other stars. This is what the league intended with this rule, and this is the second apron at work. Bobby, you're free from Vegas. You're free from the show. Go enjoy the rest of your day. We appreciate the time, my friend. Sinead, let's get to some action around the WNBA. We had a busy weekend. Starting with a career high from Caitlin Clark here. Clark was dominant in this game. This is the fourth quarter, the Fever down 6. Clark crosses up the defender.
Slice indexing, analytics dream, layups and threes. The danger of Caitlin Clark is that she can do this against any team. She's the ultimate heat check.
And then all tied here at 101.
Is that my girl? Oh, I saw that play. Oh, yeah, this was a
foul.
This was a hotly contested play.
Well, but what they're saying is they're getting it done on both sides. So the same score here. Caitlin Clark creates some space, launches.
That's her side of the flow.
By the way, that caps off 45 and...
This is career in Cleveland over. And Cleveland fans wondering if that's the last time he'll take off a Cavalier jersey.
Not in the history of the NBA, not even in the history of American sports, has a free agent athlete generated this level of interest. A palpable buzz that has grabbed front and back page headlines everywhere. Rare for one athlete to hold his sports balance of power in his hands. Let's now send it to Jim Gray in Greenwich, Connecticut with the King.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
Very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
And now he has another decision to make, but it was 16 years ago that LeBron made the decision. Capital T, capital D, at a Boys and Girls Club in Greenwich, Connecticut. 13 million people were captivated, watched, waited, hung on to every word. And award-winning journalist Jim Gray, who conducted that 2010 interview, he joins us now. Jim, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Malika, great to be with you.
It's funny to watch that footage back. I remember exactly where I was as a young NBA fan, but you were actually in the room as the biggest free agency decision that the sport has seen in that format took place. What do you remember? What memories stand out?
Well, I just remember the enormity of the moment, and I remember how pensive and how thoughtful LeBron was, Maverick Carter, everybody connected. So you could tell that things were going to be a little bit different. I intentionally did not want to know what exactly it was that he was going to do because I didn't want to be the one who would slip on television, Malika, and say it before LeBron had his chance. So I did not know what the outcome was, but I could just tell that there was something different in the air because there was trepidation. I wouldn't say he was nervous, but you could just tell that this is something that had weighed on him.
Yeah, and something that mattered a great deal to him. And obviously the decision has been revisited, criticized, critiqued, looked at for exactly what it was. But ultimately it was a young man wanting to make a choice and do it the best way that he possibly could. And so here we are again with a older LeBron James who is once again holding the league's attention, captive audience waiting for another decision to be made. Knowing what you did then and seeing what you do now, do you have any idea how maybe he would do it or something that he would take from that or things that he would leave behind with that decision?
Well, it was a monumental decision, and it changed the paradigm. It changed the entire course exactly of just how players went about it. It was the Curt Flood moment for basketball because it was player empowerment. And if you recall at the time, David Stern was very aggravated, the commissioner of the NBA at that time, who was one of the greatest commissioners in history because he didn't want to see him and the owners and everybody lose control of the process. And LeBron took that control. And he changed it for everybody. And he became somewhat of a villain, which was very, very unfair. Why are you vilifying somebody for wanting to play someplace else? And so he did it on his own way, and he made it better for all of these guys. All of these guys owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to LeBron for what he was able to do.
Yeah, he changed the way that we talk about player empowerment in a lot of ways. And I think it also changed the consideration that athletes have and the ways that they want to announce these decisions. We saw Kevin Durant famously in his own words say, "This is what my next chapter is going to be." A lot of that links back to the decision and the way that we saw that announced. Do you have any idea or any guess of where he might go this time around?
Well, it would just be a guess.
Same here.
And LeBron has been terrific in all my dealings with him. Same with Rich Paul, Maverick Carter, Randy Mims. Everybody's been terrific, but I haven't asked, just like the last time I haven't asked. We've kidded around a little bit, but no, I really don't. I think, you and Brian Windhorst and Dave McMenamin and all the people at ESPN are on top of this by a moment-to-moment basis. And I'm sure you guys will be the first Shams when it does become available to report it. But my guess would just be, I think it's down to Cleveland and Miami. And I know he loves golf, and you can play golf all year in Miami, and it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough in Philadelphia and Cleveland to do that. So, again, this is just a guess. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't have tremendous insight on it other than I'm just reading the tea leaves. And those tea leaves seem to be pointing that he has now become, I don't want to say addicted to golf, but kind of fallen in love. So, but that's pretty far away from Los Angeles. And I know that Dave has reported, how important his family and his daughter is. And I believe all of that to be 100% true. So, maybe Golden State shouldn't be counted out yet because you can play golf all year round. And plus it's whatever it is, 60 to 90 minutes away at most on a private jet.
Well, as we get ready for whatever the next decision is, however that decision comes, I am curious. You didn't want to know where he was going to go because you didn't want to accidentally hint towards or say something. So then what do you prepare? Do you prepare for a feeling? Do you prepare for just a moment that you know is going to be huge? How do you then get ready for something like that you know is going to shift the way that the power balance of the NBA is?
You just listen. And when I was growing up, I was a videotape editor, and I used to sit in my videotape edit booth when they were converting from film to videotape. And every night I would listen to Johnny Carson and Ted Koppel, and they could listen, think, and react all in the blink of an eye. And I said, if you can do that, if you're prepared enough to be able to have all the information, and then you'll be able to do something in this business. So I just wanted to listen to LeBron that night, hear what he was saying, and go from there. I mean, we all have all the information in front of us. So I was just trying to hear be at my best of being able to listen, and then take into account the feelings of the people in Cleveland, the people in Miami, the NBA players, and all the constituents that web that is woven. You have to take everybody into account. So that's how I did it in that instance, and have tried to do it all the time.
Well, Jim, I could listen to your stories, your memories of the decision all day. I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time here.
Anytime, Malika. You're doing great. Congratulations on Wimbledon, and love watching you on the NBA.
I appreciate that so very much, and I'm going to heed your advice. For now, we listen, and we wait as LeBron James approaches 20 days of this decision-making around this free agency. We've been in a little bit of a state of limbo on what could be the final decision of LeBron's career, and we've officially waited for this one longer than we did the previous 3 instances combined, but it could be the last one, and so something like that is incredibly special and worth the wait. Kendrick Perkins, Dave McMenamin, or David, as Jim Gray calls
James Gray.
Yeah, exactly. Perk, you were in the league when the decision happened. What do you remember from that?
Well, I was part of the decision, Malika. You know what I mean? That decision don't happen if the Boston Celtics are not around. You got to remember, we forced LeBron James into leaving Cleveland. We broke up that happy home and had him take his talents to South Beach. Now, you know, at the end of the day, he made the right decision because one thing I will say, Paul, Ray, KG, they did somewhat start that big 3 thing. And so LeBron James is saying, you know what? Hey, if y'all doing it, it's okay for us to do it. And so, again, we all sat around, we watched it. But to be honest, I was shocked when I found out that he was going to Miami. That was the last place I thought he would have went. And then all of a sudden, you know, with Bosh going there as well, long teaming up with Wade, it was very, it was crazy. It was crazy. We didn't get scared, but we definitely knew that the next couple of years was going to be hell and hot water.
Perk, you're selling yourself short talking about the big 3. I saw a big 4. I saw Kendrick Perkins out there completing that big 4 in Boston.
You go.
Dave, Jim Gray was the reporter covering the decision in 2010, and you are the reporter, or one of many, covering this in 2026. What can you tell us about what do you think is eventually to come here? Because Jim just said it. We have all of the information. Now what we and you are tasked with doing is listening.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate Jim and his friendship and his mentorship as I've gotten to know him over the years. I just think back to 2010, and there was so much criticism and ridicule that came LeBron's way and his camp's way after that decision. And now we fast forward a decade and a half, and quite frankly, him and his partners are looked at as the blueprint around the league. There's envy among other players, the way LeBron was able to pick these guys and give them a chance to grow along with him. And Randy Mims told me last year that he remembers someone saying, he still remembers this cutting line that he read in some local column or something like that. An athlete hiring his friends to run his career is like someone hiring a mechanic to do electrical work in your house. That was the type of misunderstanding and just, quite frankly, hate they were getting. Now, no matter what happens with this decision, I think LeBron is being celebrated through this. I think this has been a big reminder of LeBron's place in the sport and his power in the sport.
Right.
And so I think that's the big change no matter what happens. Obviously, just like Jim said, and like you paid attention to, we're going to listen and we're going to react. And, I think when we find out what team he goes to, that's, of course, interesting. I want to find out the why and the how behind it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why, when, as much as I joke about should we continue to lead the show this way, and it's July 20th and it's been this many days, for someone who has been a staple and has defined the league for as long as LeBron James has, he has earned the right to take the amount of time that he wants to, announce it the way that he chooses to, and then all of us, as much as we say, okay, when's this going to happen, we will sit and we will wait, maybe a little bit impatiently, but only because that's the fan in all of us. That's the reason you get into sports reporting or any of these things. You want to see where the best, when, and how they make these decisions, and that's what we will continue to do with Can't quite cash it, though, off the mark. Lindeborg, 21 points, 10 rebounds. He wins Summer League MVP. Here's Yaxel Lindeborg.
And their butts got tight, man. They puckered up, you know what I mean? So, some of us are built for the moment, some aren't, you know what I'm saying? So, when you get those opportunities like that and you go attack the moment, then, you belong in that moment. So, just our spirit, our will, our desire to not lose is pretty much what helped decide that game.
That was quite the assessment of his opponent there. Yaxel Lindeborg, he did win, of course, the NCAA tournament with Michigan, and now he's won the Vegas Summer League title as well. So a heck of a run for him. He joins Davion Mitchell. That happened in 2021 as the only players to win both in the same year, for those wondering. And that is officially a wrap on Summer League. So we thought we would hand out some Summer League superlatives for this rookie class here. Kendrick Perkins, what rookie do you think is the most NBA ready after what we saw in Vegas?
Oh, I got to go with Darren Peterson. I mean, for us, what he did, showing that he loved the game of basketball after all the narratives about him at Kansas, and him going out there and putting on the show offensively, but challenging himself defensively. Then I heard his one of his post-game interviews, and he talked about, being able to play on the ball and off the ball, and the combination of him and George and coming into the season. That showed growth, and he wants to play and
How
win.
about the player with most of the upside here, Chet?
Oh, give me Caleb Wilson, because there's only one player in 10 summer leagues that has had 7 threes and 3 blocks in one game. It's Caleb Wilson. But most importantly, people are like, how's he going to do? Transition, all those types of things. 42% from 3. And if we're going to talk about pregame or postgame conversations, he talked a lot saying that, hey, I'm going to be the best to wear the uniform, but I think he's just trying to shoot for the moon and land amongst the stars, and he looked like a star in Vegas.
Well done. How about Mr. Spears? Who do you think was the most impressive overall?
AJ. That's old school. Hip hoppers know what I'm talking about. AJ the dancer. No one had more pressure on him than him. You're talking about a guy who walks in, and the number 2 and 3 pick had already played in Salt Lake and played well, but he was the best show in Vegas on that night. Showed a lot of force. Wasn't stressed by the pressure.
Come on, you gotta do it one more time.
AJ.
Got better by the 3rd time. Dave, you were in Vegas. You were covering the games. Who do you think will be the most seamless transition into the big
I got to do this for Mark here. So Lenneberg, I mean, obviously not just seamless transition from winning a championship with the Wolverines to winning a championship with the Warriors, but the way he fits on the court, his confidence,
He's
his
lights
joy.
out, clearly.
Yeah, lights out, right? He has the right size. And, we saw in that highlight, he was missing the shot, getting his own rebound. I asked him about him. I did sidelines for his game. He's like, I'm the only one to know where the ball's going, so it's easy for me to, almost miss intentionally. He's big enough to get it and have the touch to finish.
Angel Reese.
So those are some of the rookies that we have been impressed by. Why don't we take some looks at some plays across the board? A little top of the top, the 2026 Summer League edition. Starting with top slams. Lakers in transition.
Hey, don't.
Oh,
he didn't
my
jump.
God.
And a dude.
He didn't jump.
Hero rhymes with hero, and certainly that's tapped on this dunk.
I need a hero.
Cody Williams
That might be my range right there.
Brothers
throwing it
proud.
down on
Brothers
Ace and
proud.
Noel.
Okay.
Hold me
Need to
back.
see more of that next season.
I didn't realize this was going to be the singing segment. You got to get in there.
Oh, snap.
Man.
That's a head.
Number 50.
And he grabbed him down.
Slapped
Yeah,
him.
he had
Throw
a
him
game
down,
winner,
too.
a sudden death game winner in that game too.
Richard Jefferson would say, you want to see a dead body?
Yeah.
Top showstoppers, quite literally. Seth
Hey,
Curry,
get that out.
that's
Game over.
game-saving
Let's go to the
block
table.
there
Oh, they don't gamble.
against the Pacers. And then the number 6 pick in the draft,
Okay.
Michael Brown Jr.
And he had himself a time, too.
Sick.
Great run for Mike.
Look at this kid. He's gonna be
Right
great.
on time, on target.
Got hops too.
Bulls guard Jalen Sellers.
Oh, bye-bye.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
take a seat.
And then lastly, let's visit the lottery picks here.
Okay.
With the first pick,
Oh,
You're
AJ. AJ.
we're clearly in summer form as well. Number 2, Darren Peterson.
Oh.
Poster on Baba Miller there.
I like how that dude put his hands down, like try to get out of it. No.
Nope.
And then, of course, Chene, we had to end on Caleb
Yes,
Wilson.
the play
The
of
thrunk.
Summer League. Yeah, the thrunk. This, he's making me a fan.
I mean, Bulls fans got
Making you one.
David